Good morning, you guys. Welcome back to Rocket City Yardstead. So it's been a while since we've been in the garden, and I thought we'd come out and take a peek at things. Just see how everything's going out here. Now, the truth is I haven't really been out here in probably about a month. Between the freezer situation and going to visit family, the garden just didn't get attention. I was either in the kitchen working or I was out of town. So I haven't been out here a whole lot. I can see there's so much giant okra because of us being gone. But I guess let's start here by the peppers. Look at all of these poblanos. I'm really excited about how many peppers I'm seeing on these plants. They're beautiful and just loaded. Even for plants that haven't done super well this year, they just haven't been super healthy with the new soil. But lots of peppers in there. Let me give you guys a peek at these okra plants. Look at all of this ridiculous okra. Definitely inedible. I knew that was going to happen when we went out of town, and it's fine. We'll cut it all off, and maybe the plants will give us some more food. I do want to show you guys the basil I have here on this fig tree, because I don't know what the deal is, but you can see all of these basils that have gone to seed. And then look at this plant. It's gigantic. And it has never flowered. It still tastes fantastic. And I have one other plant like this as well. I don't know if it's some kind of genetic mutation, but it's incredible. My serrano peppers have some peppers that are getting ripe and loads of green ones. Let's see if we can get a good view there. So we're going to get another nice serrano harvest, I think. Some pretty cayennes. This purple cayenne plant has quite a few on here as well. I don't know what that's going to do to my hot sauce, but I've been throwing them in the freezer bag with my red peppers as well. So I might change the color when I go to make hot sauce. I did not know what to expect when I planted the Thunbergia this year, or as it's more commonly called, the black-eyed Susan vine. You guys, look at this trellis. It is just absolutely so glorious. I think we may have to plant this from now on because I just love it. It looks like something out of a fairy tale. Let me get up close. I love how the flowers are different colors at different stages. So you just get some variety in there. And it's just so beautiful. This plant is starting to fade, but it has just been such a joy this summer. It's been so beautiful. The rest of the bed has not done super well. Green beans did not thrive here. Things I planted in this bed didn't do great either. Here's that other basil plant that has not flowered. And I just don't understand, but I'm grateful because we still have tasty basil. I planted a couple of sweet potatoes in here, and you can see their flowers. We'll be needing to harvest the sweet potatoes soon. Oh, and I love this zinnia. It's so pretty. And I had another one that looked like this that shriveled up and died, so I'm really grateful to have this one. Look at this beautiful pineapple sage here. We've had some progress made that is very exciting. You can see behind me, we have a foundation built for our greenhouse. Y'all, if you were around when we were putting in this garden, you saw that I did try to figure out how to do this myself, and it just was not going well. So we hired somebody to do it, and y'all, watching them do it we would never have figured this out on our own. So I'm so grateful for skilled professionals who know what they're doing. But now we can work on our greenhouse, and I'm so excited about it. Our original plan here that we've been thinking about since we ordered our greenhouse was that we would put dirt in here and level things out and then put gravel on top. But if you don't know, I'm about 5'11", and so we're kind of thinking maybe we'll just put gravel and let the greenhouse floor have a grade. I don't know what you guys think about that. We're still kind of iffy on that, but we thought it might actually be nice to have that extra headspace. So I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. There was some heavy rain while we were out of town and it blew over some of my cosmos, but look at these. I just love them. They're so delicate looking. These are the cupcake cosmos from Johnny Seeds because they look like a cupcake wrapper. But I just love them so much. Look at how lush these sweet potato vines are. I think the sweet potato vines in this bed are going to give us better sweet potatoes than that other one I showed you. But I just love the flowers so much. They're so pretty. All right, friends, we need to talk about my loofahs. I harvested one. I actually harvested a couple and peeled one. I could not get the other two peeled. So I learned, if you watched the video where I showed you going to my cousin's farm, that there are different varieties of loofah. I have been looking at these this year thinking they don't look like the loofah that I've seen in other people's videos. And what I learned is that these are actually, I think they called it Chinese okra, is the more colloquial term for this specific variety. And people actually eat it when it's really small. Well, the loofah inside, the part that you would use, it is basically glued to the skin. And so it is really hard to peel. If you didn't watch that video, when we went and visited our family at their farm, one of my cousins grew loofahs this year, the right kind of loofahs, and she sent me home with a bunch of seeds. So if for some reason I just can't get these peeled, I have the right seeds for next year. But there are just tons of loofah on here. There's one. There's one. So I'm really hoping we'll be able to get them peeled. Go. Got some down here. They just grew everywhere. There's 3 right there. It makes me really hopeful that I can get them peeled because the loofah really is a quality loofah if you can get it peeled, but it's just really difficult. So y'all, my tomatillos are dead. Or if they're not dead, they're very close to dead. They're just kaput for the year. I was hoping we were maybe going to get a second flush because I didn't get as much tomatillo salsa as I wanted, but nope, they just are not healthy plants. Our peppers, though, are doing great. Look at all these beautiful snacking peppers we've got in here that are ready to harvest. I don't know what the deal is, but the red ones are always smaller. They're just tiny. Let me pick one. Here. Every year I've grown these lunchbox peppers, this is what it's like. The yellow and orange ones are a really nice size, and the red ones are just tiny. Our sweet peppers are putting on nice, beautiful peppers as well. I have an almost ripe one right there. There's one. I'm hoping we're going to get another nice harvest off of these. Even though the plants could be bigger and healthier, I'm grateful for all the food we've gotten off of them because it's really just common for first year gardens to need amendment. The soil is just not as good as it could be. The weather has been cooling off, And by cooling off, I mean it's in the 80s instead of the 90s. And so some of my plants are really thriving. I find that eggplants tend to put on a ton right here, end of September and October. And so look at how big these plants have gotten. Let me try and get out of cut the shade a little bit, but they're just covered in flowers. And there's an eggplant in there. Not very big yet. I spotted a pretty nice size one. There it is. Oh, there's a really nice size one. There's another baby. Ooh, friends, I just about walked through a pretty big spider web. It goes from this tomato cage over to that one. And I don't see the spider, but look at these Heatmaster tomatoes. They put on a ton of fruit and it looks really nice. This one over here also looks fantastic. There's some damage on these tomatoes. You can see right there, but this plant has just kept cranking out tomatoes for me. And I don't know if I ever showed you, these were those marigolds I planted from seed, I think sometime in June, but this is my favorite one. It's just got that beautiful multicolored thing going on. I'm a big fan. There's some yellow ones hiding under there. I guess they're orange, but more sad tomatillos. It's just that time of year. These do actually have little fruits in them. I don't know. It's tiny. I don't know if these plants will actually put anything on that'll be worth harvesting. These are my Corno de Toro peppers. We are really big fans of these. And I learned this year, I'm trying to remember, I think it's Mary Seeds has a pack that has 3 different colors of Corno de Toros. It has a yellow, an orange, and a red. And so I think I might get those to grow next year. Ooh, that's a beautiful pepper. There's a few of them out here. This one needs to ripen a little bit more, but it looks perfect. So I do have to tell you guys, the Chinese multicolor spinach, which is actually a kind of amaranth, that was basically a big fail this year. I never figured out what kind of bug was eating it, but the leaves were constantly looking like lace, and then it just died. So I don't think that's something that's going to grow well for me here. You guys, my green beans did not do well for me this year, but look, they're actually putting on some beautiful beans. And I'm seeing quite a few. Maybe here at the end of the year, we're actually going to get some green beans. I have learned that we really need green beans planted pretty early here because they don't like the heat of the summer. But with putting the new garden areas in, they just didn't get planted as early as they needed to. Tiny little pumpkin. So I do want to show you guys, I was very excited about these pumpkins this year, and they have not done well, but I don't think that's the pumpkin's fault. I think it's new soil. Soaker hoses just did not work well enough as far as irrigation goes. We're talking about what we can do differently next year in that capacity. But I do have some pumpkins. They're very small, but let me show you. Here's one. I don't know if this one got fully ripe before the vine died, so we'll just have to keep an eye on that. This one I don't think made it. That vine died pretty quickly. Now that the weather's cooled off, it's trying to put on more. We do not have time for this little guy to ripen, but it would be a beautiful pumpkin, I think. My flowers are pretty much done for the year. They have just gotten diseased and are dying. The cardinal basil still looks really beautiful down in here. But the rest of the flowers just are covered in spots and dying back. It's just that time of year. Some of them are completely dead. So it is what it is. I'm grateful we got to enjoy them as long as we did and got so many bouquets this summer. So you guys, you might have been with me when I planted some fall potatoes to try. It's been very dry here, and I don't think my soaker hoses are enough. They don't provide enough moisture here, and so potatoes just aren't coming up. I didn't think we were going to get anything, but I actually see 2 potato plants. So I'll show you those, but I think if we're going to plant potatoes in the fall, we're going to have a better watering system. So there's one little sad potato plant, and there's the other one. We might get a meal out of these plants, but this was a bit of a failed experiment. I think we just will maybe try again next year and make sure they get watered better. It's quite the jungle since we've been gone and stuff, but I wanted to show you the sweet potatoes here. Lots of sweet potato vines coming out of this bed. These are my yellow fleshed sweet potatoes. I don't know what the actual variety is, but we love them. There's basil in the middle there. My eggplants down at that end are not doing great. The bindweed came out in full force, and with us not being out here much, it just really took over. It's shaded the eggplants a lot. Although I am seeing some baby eggplants, so we still might get something from these plants. I need to come out and weed soon. There's another eggplant. I do have tomatoes in this weedy jungle that are trying to put on fruit. So we'll see if we have enough time. I have one plant that fell over, and it's got a beautiful tomato on it. I may see if I can get this pulled up to the trellis so no critters get to it. Y'all, we are going to walk down this way, and I am going to see if I can get this to show up in the shot. This is the biggest spider web I have ever seen. I came out here yesterday, I think it was, and let's see, this spider web, it's the whole walkway. And I don't see the spider right now. I could see him the other day. He was pretty big. Let's see if we can zoom in and get it to register at all. No. Oh, there's some of it. Can you see? I wish I knew where he was because he was a big, gnarly guy that I do not want to make mad. There's a tomato. With most of my zinnias dead, it's really nice to see some of these beauties popping up. It's in the walkway, but I don't mind. And I love this color. This has not really been a great tomato year for me. I'm grateful when we do find little treats in the garden. And they're trying to give us more cherry tomatoes. There's a cluster of big tomatoes right there. I think those are a pineapple tomato, which is one of my favorites. More cherry tomatoes. That's a really nice paste tomato right there. A ripened zucchino rampicante back there I need to get out. And, ooh, there's a baby one. Let's see, right there, baby zucchino rampicante. These plants have lasted much longer than I'm used to. So I have quite a few of these. Can't remember if they're big boy or better boys. I bought them at Costco and planted them the end of June. There's quite a few tomatoes on this plant. Well, you guys, there you have it. That's what the garden is looking like right now. It's definitely a weedy mess. There are plants dying, but number one, it's just that time of year. And number two, we just have had life kind of get in the way between the freezer debacle and going to visit family. That stuff was just more important in the moment. And, you know, just seasons of life. My uncle is not in the greatest of health. My cousins we went and visited, they're in their 80s. And so, honestly, getting that family time in is more important than having a weed free garden. And the garden is still, as you can see, giving us a lot of food. And so, I just think there are seasons of life, and sometimes your garden is going to be a weedy, dying mess, and that's okay. We're still getting lots of peppers and tomatoes and all kinds of things out of here. So, I'm actually really happy with how this garden is going this summer. I guess it's not summer anymore, it's October, but I'm really happy with how it's going given what this year has looked like. Thanks for hanging out with me today, you guys. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.